Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nick here, and welcome to my first and second viewing reaction to Doctor Who Season 1 slash Series 14 slash Season 40. Season fucking 40! Episode 1, the Space Babies. I'm going to be doing two reactions tonight, filming tonight, Wednesday, the 15th of May. 2024. I'll also record the Devil's Court one separately, and hopefully I'll get this one out tonight. But then I'm going to release the Devil's Court one tomorrow, maybe early hours, like midnight or something, just like Doctor Who and iPlayer, but shortly afterwards. So yeah, actually, funny story with this episode is that I watched both episodes on the night of broadcast, although not on actual broadcast because I'm back a little bit late from work, but on the record on our record. Um, but because my parents had to go out, we had already started watching the first episode, but I was allowed to just carry on whilst they were out. They then came back and watched the rest of episode. We restarted episode one and just um, watched that again. So I watched episode one twice on broadcast night with episode two in between, and ahead of the Unleashed I was about to watch, and then episode two we watched, or again in my case, the next day with the Unleashed afterwards. So this is why this is that's partly why this is late instead of on Saturday or Sunday night, is because of that. And then Monday and Tuesday I was a little bit we were a little bit busy on Monday, and I was a bit busy on Tuesday. What I was involved with on Tuesday is going to be coming out hopefully Christmas. A new film by Ollie Pajak. Stay tuned. Pajak Productions. Subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. And don't forget to do all of that for this channel and all of the other Nick Payne channels and the Universals and Universals, etc., etc. The usual good stuff. But yeah, so that's what didn't do it those nights. But yeah, got some time now, so getting round to doing that. FYI, I am going to be watching these episodes either on broadcast or recorded from broadcast, and not going to be watching on iPlayer. I'm going to be working most Saturdays anyway, so I don't really have much time either way. So, which is also good to avoid social media spoilers. And oh boy, if the response to these episodes is going to be something the next couple of episodes are going to be getting, whatever the reaction is, if the amount of it's going to be this much, good job I am working those most, if not all, Saturdays, to avoid all of the social media frenzy. But yes, Space Babies. So, by the way, these are reactions, not reviews. Harry Thomas, specifically, I'm talking to you. Those reviews are coming later, although Universal's ones will be coming in the autumn, so I might just do my usual ones first, and then maybe some I'll redo for the Universal's channel. It's for the same strategy of why we did the 60th specials, Ruby Road and Destination Skaro, back in the winter earlier this year, instead of around the time of their broadcasts. I say winter for Churchill and Ruby Road, March rather than start spring, I guess, rather than December. So yeah, it's for the whole strategy of avoiding clashing with other people doing them at the same time, and also more retrospective reviews rather than right now, right here type of thing. Not sure how successful that was with the last few episode reviews, but hopefully it'll be a bit better for the season 40 series. Sorry, season 1 slash series 14 slash season 40 reviews. Yeah, I'm more excited that it's season 40 than season 1. But how does Russell T Davies begin season 1 of the Bad Wolf Disney Plus era, or just era 3, let's just say era 3, for the whole classic Who Knew Who or revived Who, and then whatever we're calling this one, let's just say it's era 3, in terms of the chunks. Not like you've got the Doctor's era, the showrunners eras, the decades, and now we got the season chunks of season 1 to 26, series slash season 1 to 13, and now season 1 onwards. You know, say it's era 3 series wise, series chunks of series wise. Okay, so how does Russell T Davies start season 1 of era 3 and season 40 of the entire show, following Church on Ruby Road, of course. Well, okay, I'm going to come out and say it. I don't think Space Babies is bad, but I can understand why people won't gravitate to it. I understand why people don't quite get on board with it. And yeah, this is a bit of a weird one, but not in the good weird that Wild Blue Yonder was. More of the, like, weird. But more harmless weird, I suppose. Like, this episode is definitely more aimed at the younger audience, like, because the show's a family series, of course. I think most of the adult fans and critics might have forgotten about that when watching this episode or after watching the episode. I think a lot of the older fans and critics, as I've just said, have forgotten about that. Maybe they'll ignore, maybe, or they don't forget about it, but they like, yeah, it's probably for the younger audience, but this, and this, and to be fair, I'm probably going to be doing that as well, but I'm going to be kind of addressing it a little bit more than probably what they do, because this episode is definitely more aimed at the younger kids rather than, say, maybe the older kids or the older audiences that'll be watching along or watching as well. I think we're going to be getting more of that mature stuff, the more mature episode stuff later in the series. We've got a few more mysterious episodes, a few more that look like they're going to be a bit darker. Episode 3, that's coming up this weekend, is looking a bit more serious and darker than these first 2 episodes. And episode 4 is looking very mysterious. We might maybe go back, tone it down a bit for episode 5 and maybe 6, and then probably tone back up for 7 and 8. So, yeah, I'd say, by the way, for those who are kind of complaining it's a bit too fun and light-hearted and a bit too silly and stuff, hold your horses. We can get to the darker stuff later. These are the opening 2 episodes, the premiere. You do want to get people on board, the general audience on board. And while Space Babies is probably the more questionable way of doing it, in terms of the tone, I'd say it's fine for now. Darker stuff, mysterious stuff, serious stuff, that can come later. Like, you don't start the first era of the new era with Genesis of the Daleks. Not even season 12 of Classic Who started with Genesis of the Daleks. That was the 4th story of the season. You don't start with Genesis of the Daleks, you save that for later. So, calm down. This is the robot. Okay, robot wasn't this silly, but this is the robot of season 40, not Genesis of the Daleks. We can get our Genesis later, okay? Calm down. Calm the F down. No, seriously, calm down. That being said, oh goodness, this might be the silliest episode we've had since. Oh, good question. I'm not actually sure. Say what you like about the Jodie Whittaker era episodes, but I don't think they were silly in tone. Well, maybe Orphan 55, but yeah, even the Moffat era. I suppose In the Forest of the Night, maybe, but even then, that is for different reasons. Or I suppose, well, maybe actually Husbands of a Song, but that's more of a panto silly rather than what this episode is doing. For the sake of argument, let's say Husbands of River Song, but that one is silly for a reason. It's more like, Christmas panto, festive, fun episode, especially after all the end of series 9, the end of series 9, season 35. So, yeah, fair enough for that one. This one is actually pretty much after another fun, festive episode, Church on Ruby Road. And Devil's Gore was maybe a tad bit more darker than this one. It's also quite more fun and fast. I think this is a theme that these episodes, apart from maybe Wild Blue Yonder, has had, is fun and entertainment value. While Blue Yonder, where that lacks in that, it makes up with the other great elements, and still actually quite enjoyable. So yeah, it's a bit silly, this episode, in fairness. The Space Babies just idea kind of is a bit silly in general. I don't think it's as bad as people were saying. I think the CGI actually kind of works with what they were doing, and if you watch behind the scenes Unleashed, you'd actually see how it was done, and it actually looks pretty good. Maybe technology will get better over time, and maybe the deep fake, not deep fake, it wasn't deep fake, maybe the CGI replication of the voice actors' movements with the baby actors' faces will improve over time. It's probably an improvement of what they had in older films, like say Baby Geniuses, for example, where they'd have they tried to have the babies move their lips so voice actors can say the lines, for example. So it's probably better than older films and TV shows that did that. But I think the tech will improve over time, like with the CGIing of people's faces onto each other, or aging up slash down of actors. Um, but I think that's going to be improving um, in the future, because tech will improve, especially for stuff like this. But yeah, I thought it was fine, and the actors all did well. They both babies and the voice actors, and also the practical doubles that the doll doubles that they got used. Yeah, if you watch the behind the scenes shows or documentaries and stuff, you'll be able to know how they made them. And there's a lot of work put into this, so don't throw these episodes out just on a whim, unless you actually really do hate them, in which case, fair enough, as long as you're hating them for the right reasons. Yeah, let's not even go into the politics. Like, oh my god, how are these episodes woke? Apart from the fact that we got a Black Doctor in it, but apart, and also a drag queen in in episode 2. But apart from that, how the flip are these two episodes woke crybabies? And this episode, actually, the babies in this episode are more adult than the crybabies online, or who are bitching about wokeness and all that. Nah, I'm being serious. But I won't go into that anymore. That's enough about that. But yeah, I'll just say that the babies in this episode were much more adult than the crybabies bitching about wokeness, which these two episodes are probably the least woke of the second RTD era so far. I despair at humanity sometimes. Okay, back to the episode. Back to better things. Yeah, because Space Babies, the episode is better than wokeness, crybabies. Anyway, back to better stuff. Surprisingly, yeah, it's kind of it's an okay episode. It's fine. When I saw it, probably considered an 8, but I've gone down to a high. Well, I did consider 7. Do I lower it to 6? I'll have to watch the episode again, naturally. I'm looking at 7 out of 10 at the moment. Could go down to 6. It's not bad. I'm actually one of the nice guys. I don't really rate much for Doctor Who. I don't really rate much things lower than 7 often. Even especially for the new series. Because I grew up with the new series, so I got a tad bit of a bias. But even Classic Who, I wasn't that harsh. I didn't go much lower than 6 or 7, so most of the time, it was the odd 5 here and there. Yeah, and there was a couple of lower than 5s on both sides of the Wilderness Years, but it's usually 7 or up. So if this goes to 6, then it's probably because it doesn't quite work as well, but still good, or at least good to meh. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I think some of the twists work, but are quite childish. I won't go too much into spoilers here because that's for the review. The whole point of the reaction is more, especially if it's done first or second night, is you know because it has just aired, and even if within the week, it's like still I want to maybe not go too spoilery. That and then for the more critical analysis or delving deeper into the thoughts of the episode, that's when we get more critical. Sorry, that's when we go more spoilery. Um, at least from with my ones. In fairness, I don't really have much more to say other than it was all right, silly. Maybe not the didn't quite work the greatest. It's all right. Couple good twists. Some of them quite childish though, fitting in with that tone. I thought the twist with the boogeyman monsters was quite good, although I did kind of see it coming. And when after the blow the nose scene, and then when the doctor's like, oh, that's what it's made of, and it's building up, it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna be this, and yeah, good reveal. I will say that, and yeah. Yeah, it did. Funny enough, the episode felt a bit like Alien in the movie Alien in those sequences down below with the boogeyman. And funny enough, I was listening to the Big Finish Audio Time Lord Victorious genetics of the Daleks, and that has a bit of an alien vibe in that story as well. So I was listening to that at around a similar time, and yeah, and shortly and also quite recently, yeah, wow. I must have been in Doctor Who Does Alien mode um, for for Saturday and a bit of Monday as well, because of listening to genetics of the Daleks and watching this episode. Must have been on a bit of a Doctor Who Does Alien mode. I need to rewatch Oxygen, don't I? Actually, no, that was a Five Who fans video joke. Um, but yeah, it's some good stuff in here. It's just like it's kind of a bit weird, but it's fine. It's mostly enjoyable. I might go more into details and might be a bit more talkative about the episode in the review when I don't really have a huge amount more to say. I just thought it was fine. I don't think it's as bad as most people are saying. Funny enough, there's been a bit of a debate online about which one of the two is better. Some people actually prefer this one to the Devil's Cord. Whilst other people prefer Devil's Cord to this one. It depends on which of the two you found more enjoyable or a stronger script. Um, but yeah, I think the Devil's Cord is the stronger one, but more on that in the next video. Definitely the stronger script. Probably better executed as well, but and also it's a little less childish. It's still fun and light-hearted for the most part, but it's probably a little less childish. And there are a bit more stakes in Devil's Cord. Some people have been saying, "Oh, there's no stakes in these two episodes." I think Devil's Cord has a few more than this one. I'm not going to say there's no. I'm not going to say there isn't any stakes. There's it's low stakes, um, which is better than none. But then again, I don't know what media doesn't have any full stop. I suppose. Yeah, I suppose if they're very low, maybe. This one, I suppose, they are quite low, so I can kind of see where people are coming from. But I won't say there's none outright like minor stakes. Funny enough, actually, my favourite bits of the episode were the bits where the Doctor and Ruby were just talking to each other early on. The scene with Ruby being a lizard, kind of because of the whole butterfly effect thing, was a strange one, but it pulled off better than I thought it was going to be from the trailers, and also the first clip of the episode that was released. But the stuff where they're just talking, hanging about in the TARDIS or on the space station after running away from the bogeyman the first time, those were probably the best stuff. Just as well as also the stuff about the Doctor and Ruby talking in the corridor on their way to meet Jocelyn, the aka Nanny. So I thought those were the best scenes of the episodes, and how it's all tying in with each other's character and the series arc overall. We're getting a few more hints, but not huge amount yet. But we will get there. I mean, there's gonna be some long running arcs, but I think for the Ruby parent one, I think we're probably gonna find out most about what we need to know by the end of the series, even if there's gonna be a few stuff carrying over to next series, as implied by, or no, stated by Russell T Davies. Um, yeah, I think those were the best scenes, where just the Doctor and Ruby talking with each other about stuff, and the Doctor showing Ruby off the universe, TARDIS, and them talking about each other, their families, their backstories, and the stuff tying in with the arc. And also the ending was quite good. So that poor ceiling at Cherry and Carla Sunday's flat. That poor ceiling. But yeah, overall, Space Babies was fine. Not amazing. It was decent, likable. I can understand people not getting on board with it, cringing a bit. And yeah, it's very silly. Definitely aimed at the younger kid audience. But mostly harmless. If you don't want to watch it, or if you just want to watch the key moments that are going to play either important stuff for the character arcs for the Doctor and Ruby and the series arc, if you just want to watch those bits and then leave the rest, fair enough. That's fine. Don't need to hate it. Just if you don't like it, fair enough. Just don't hate it for the wrong reasons, and be kind. Maybe could be as 5 fans did back in with Series 8 and possibly 9 reviews. Be kind. One of their categories was Be Kind Rewind, and I think maybe they did that for some other reviews outside those series as well at the time. I definitely say this is probably one that is worth watching again to see if maybe people might like it a little bit more, or if they end up disliking it a bit more, then at least maybe they can okay, this is now I'm pinpointing why this isn't working a bit more. So like I think I did for the second viewing, I was like, okay, didn't quite work as well on the first viewing, but on the other hand, maybe things might be better on the second viewing or third viewing or whatever. Who knows? Who knows? Oh. Sorry, that's my best curator impression without doing the Tom Baker voice. But yeah, definitely a Be Kind Rewind episode. Even if it's to help pinpoint why it doesn't quite work, it's still a one that's worth checking out again, just to see what works, what doesn't work. But yeah, but to be fair, it's mostly harmless. It's not quite the best series opener, and I think it suffered, as some of my friends on Discord said, it suffers kind of from a New Earth situation, because it's kind of like a New Earth kind of type episode where it's not the very first episode. It's episode 1 of the series, but it's not the first one of the Doctor's era, because it's following on from a Christmas special. And then the next episode is going to be kind of a bit more stakey, slightly higher stakes, slightly more important to what's going on across the board. Certainly his Tooth and Claw was. It's a bit more arguable here. So yeah, I can kind of understand why this might be considered the New Earth of Series 14, Season 1, Season 40. But yeah, I still say it's a Be Kind Rewind episode. Not the greatest season opener. In fact, it's probably going to go down as one of the weaker ones, although it's way better than the Moffat Dalek season openers of Series 7 and Series 9. And also Destiny of the Daleks, if we're counting the entire of the show overall. So, what is it with Dalek season openers? The only good one is Remembrance of the Daleks. Oh no, hang on, I remember Day of the Daleks exists. Okay, the only good ones are Day of the Daleks and Remembrance of the fucking awesome Daleks. But the other 3 are bad. Hopefully the next Dalek season open, whenever that comes, I'm not expecting it next year. Next time, hopefully. Anyway, so that's it from my reaction to Space Babies, because I really don't have much to say apart from it's fine. So stay tuned for my reaction to The Devil's Cord, which I believe is the stronger of these first 2 episodes. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.